For Lisa while I'm going on the road. What do I actually do? For some of you that aren't aware, I'm actually a full-time teaching professional and coach several different players on the PGA Tour. I'm also a full-time caddy for one of the players, obviously for Jason Day. Also, I get the unique privilege of being a father figure and a mentor. Jason's father passed away when he was 12 of cancer. And I've sort of, I won't say replaced, but I've stood in where I can over the past 13, 14 years. And certainly I'm a motivator and at times a psychologist to all of my clients. It's this great game that we all play sometimes can be a little bit difficult. I'm a qualified member of the Australian PGA. I turned pro in 1993, so if you do the math, it's about 20 odd years ago. I'm a certified level 2 AAA golf instructor, which is, I believe, the highest rank that we give out in Australia. I know it's a little bit different here, but I'm also a certified golf swing engineering master, GSEM, with a golf machine. That was something that I did while I was in Asia to help me better understand the golf swing and make sure that what I was passing on, the knowledge that I was passing on, was correct. So it's the only, what golf machine actually stands for is geometrically orientated linear force. That's GOLF. And it's a guy by the name of Homer Kelly that actually went in and researched the golf swing mechanically to see whether or not it was the correct way to swing it. And that was something that I did just to answer a lot of questions for myself. I'm also a certified club fitter and level 1 strength and conditioning coach. I work now on my 12-ounce curls. I'm currently a full-time golf instructor for 3 Australian golfers. I not only work with Jason, but I work with a couple of others. I happen to work with Cameron Percy. He's been a full-time client of mine since 2010. You might remember in 2010 he finished second to Jonathan Bird at Justin Timberlake Shriners when Jonathan Bird had that magnificent hole-in-one in the middle of, it was pretty dark, it was about 6, 7 o'clock at night. Also in 2011 finished 7th in the John Deere Classic and then tore it up on the nationwide tour in 2012 with 3 seconds. Probably arguably should have won all of those. One of those, I think it was the BMW Charity Pro-Am where another Aussie, Nick Flanagan, banked it off the back of the marquee stand down to about 4 feet. Went ahead and hold the putt to beat Cameron. Needless to say, there was a lot of psychological help that evening. I also work with Greg Chalmers. He's a lefty for all the lefties. How many lefties do we have in here? Oh, just Marty. I feel alone. Greg's up there. So Greg's been a full-time client of mine since 2007. He's won the Henrico County Open on the nationwide tour. Finished second to Tiger twice in 2009. One was once was in the Australian Masters, and the other was in the Buick here in the US. 2009 was a bad year for Tiger that year. I think that's when it all started crumbling, but it should have crumbled a week earlier. 2010, a 4th and a 5th there in the Canadian Open. Big throw out for all the Canadians in the crowd tonight. And hopefully we'll get up there and play that one day. And in 2011, he won both the Australian Open and the Australian PGA and couldn't quite finish off the Triple Crown with a win in the Australian Masters. And he's had a 4th already, 4th in 2012. The other guy I work with, he's alright. He's been a full-time client of mine since 2006. Won the Legend Financial Classic at 19 years. He was the youngest ever winner on the PGA Tour sanctioned event at 19. 2010 he won his Byron Nelson Championship at 22 years. That year we finished 10th in the PGA, which we thought was pretty good. 2011, second in the US Open to Daylight, commonly referred to as Rory McIlroy. And second in the Masters, which was actually the best finish by a rookie in the first time appearance at the Masters at 23 years. 2012 was lean, so there was not much work done in the backyard. His only win was the Wendy's 3-Tour Challenge, and in 2013, we're pretty good. Second, obviously last week in the US Open, second in the Masters, well actually it was a third in the Masters, that's a title, and third in the WGC Essential Match Play in the desert. He's done pretty well in, what's that, 6.5 years, $12 million. So, he's doing all right. It's good that he could shave for that little ticket at the start. I'm also a full-time caddy on the PGA Tour, so besides teaching all of those guys, and one guy that I didn't put on there, and I should do a little shout out, was Mitchell Kulowitz. He's another Australian that I've just started working with. He's been here a couple of times. He plays on the Eaton Tour, and he just had a runaway victory on the e-golf tour, and had his first win on the e-golf tour with a 9-shot victory. Played pretty good. I've been fortunate enough to caddy for Jason since 2006. We've had 2 wins, 5 seconds, 3 thirds, 28 top 10 finishes, 52 top 25 finishes, and out of 128 starts on the PGA Tour. So, it's a good photo. He's just pointing out where the beer tent is. It's up there, Colin. Colin Swatton is also a loving and devoted husband. We got married on the 17th of January in Hawaii. My life has never been the same since. I'm very, very fortunate, and thanks for doing that thing with Jason earlier. But there are a couple of little standout stellar performances. Just a little bit of background about myself. First, as a golf professional, I was fortunate enough at 23 to finish my traineeship. I actually turned pro at 20. I didn't really like golf, and I didn't really play golf. I played baseball as my sport of choice, and my dad said, you know, take up a gentlemanly sport and a game of golf, and it's certainly that. So I did. 3 years later, I turned pro and finished my traineeship in Australia. 1993, I moved to Singapore to work for a company called Henry Griffiths as a club fitter. I had the opportunity to travel through Malaysia, Indonesia, through Singapore and into Thailand. In 1994, I was very, very fortunate to bump into a chap that wanted to build a golf course and a golf academy, and that's what we did. We walked in there, it was 9 holes, that was it. And we finished the back 9. We did the design and construction on the back 9 holes, built a multi-level driving range, and in 5 years just taught just over 5,000 people. So they were long days, but very enjoyable days. 1997, my father passed away of cancer, which was, funnily enough, the reason I came back to Australia to live. And that's where I met Jason. I started a position as the director and head teacher professional at the Colin International School. His father passed away the very same year of also cancer, and whether it was fate or what you might call it, but we ended up meeting each other, and here we are today. Unfortunately, the Golf Academy closed in 2001. The board of directors managed to siphon just enough money out of it. And, we had 75 kids at one point, and out of the 75 kids we had, I think 50 of those were less than 10 handicaps, so they were great. A lot of them have gone on to greater things. Stephen Bowditch went there, Adam Scott went there, Andrew Buckle went there, Jason went there, Amy Yang on the ladies tour went there, so we've been fortunate to teach a lot of people that have gone on and made a profession from the game. 2001, I became the director of golf and head teaching professional at the Hills International Golf Academy. A lot of the kids, 45 of them, must have thought I was doing something right and came over with me over there, and we continued teaching. In 2004, Jason graduated the academy and began playing amateur golf in the United States. We came over, we did several trips into the US. Unfortunately, we didn't play the very special one here. What's the name of that one? We used to have. So someone took it away. We might get that one back. But yeah, we come over, we played the Sunnyham, Munro, Western, Border, you know, all the events that we could, just to try and gain experience and knowledge on how to play in the US. It's a, you know, it's a very, very different game in comparison to Australia, although I got a bit of a taste of it yesterday on the East Course, shaving all the edges of the greens down, and suddenly you're having to now putt and chip from the apron, so we're getting a little taste of it. 2006, Jason turned professional. He had 7 starts on the PGA Tour straight out of the box. John Deere was his first ever, and we managed to finish 67th there. He made $8,700 and thought that was unbelievable. Needless to say, he didn't buy dinner. And that's literally when my caddy career began, was in 2006. So what's a caddy's life really like? That's a question that I get asked all the time. And hopefully we'll answer it in the next couple of slides. But we spent a lot of time on this. Certainly G5s, G3s, private air is certainly their choice of airline. Sometimes, occasionally we get to travel with them. My time's usually spent in the airports with thousands of others, waiting for rain delays and storms coming through Charlotte or Atlanta. His plane's a little nicer. It's amazing how they get looked after. And mine's right in front of the center. Usually sandwiched between 2 gentlemen or
2 babies.
Yeah, 2 babies. Best investment I ever made was those headphones. We managed to certainly they get greeted by someone that's in a hurry to take them to their hotel. Well, I spend countless hours in the line, only to find out that dollar is in the next exit. Fancy hotels are certainly part of the choice on the PGA Tour, although mine's a little bit Super 8, choice of champions. We managed to try and find accommodation that will certainly meet the needs of all the players, make sure they're left with nothing else that they could possibly want. Well, I'm looking. We've all been in that hotel. We didn't like it, but yeah, it was great. We had a TV that week. So traveling on the tour can sometimes be a challenge, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So what does a tour caddy do? That's the question that I get asked a lot. Turn up, keep up, and shut up. They're usually 3 of the big ones that caddies use, or caddies are told to do when they're on the PGA Tour. This is really what a tour caddy does on the PGA Tour. He's usually responsible for course mapping. I won't bore you to tears with what it all means and everything. But course mapping is usually working out driving lines, bunkers, layup areas on par 5s. Green mapping is something that we've got into definitely in the last 3 to 4 months, and is something that undoubtedly played an important role in Jason's finish at the Masters and also at the US Open. Course mapping is, we now have contour charts that show the contours on every single green on the PGA Tour, and we can try and work out the best place to leave the ball to have the most predictable putt. And certainly we saw that at Merion. You know, you could have a putt of 3 feet and might have 4 or 5 inches of break in it, or you could have a putt from 30 or 40 feet that might only break 2 cups. So green mapping is certainly something that's helped Course strategy is something that we try and work out which holes are strong, which holes are weak. Strong holes are the ones that we want to try and avoid, and the weak ones we want to try and take advantage on the PGA Tour. So Marion had lots and lots of strong holes. Elevation changes, some of them are not all, Florida golf's fun because it's all level, but definitely elevation changes are something that we have to take into consideration. How much drop or elevation change off a tee, whether or not we can carry bunkers at 300 or not. And also we have to check the distance markers. Some of them might say 145 to the front, but it might only be 137. So we have to go out and make sure we check all the sprinklers and make sure they all say what they actually say. At Marion, USGA really did us a great favour and went out and took all the markers off the sprinklers. So all the caddies had to go out and actually remark every single sprinkler on the whole golf course. We didn't do the ones in the rough because no one goes in the rough at Marion. We do wind charting. We find where the wind blows, both on the tee, the fairway second shots, and also at the green. Not every golf course has the wicker baskets, which weren't good for the wind. But we try and find out where the wind's going to be blowing from and most predictables to help us make the best choices. We also looked at distance measurements for calibrating the golf clubs, humidity, heat, wet weather, altitude, all play a part in how far you hit the golf clubs. So we have to obviously do our distance measurements every week to make sure that how far he's hitting it is actually how far he's hitting it. We also do lie angles. We check our lie angles on our golf clubs periodically. Of course, PGA Tour professionals all hit as many balls as you guys do. And believe it or not, the clubs move. So we have to make sure that the lie angles and the lofts of the golf clubs are consistent with what they are week in, week out. Also the putters move constantly. They make the necks on the putters so soft these days that when they do this, they're actually, over time, bending the putter. And bending the putter could add loft, it could take loft off and certainly change the lie angle. So that's pretty much what we do on a week in, week out basis. We go through all of that sort of stuff and make sure that it's all taken care of. Typical week on tour for me, I always fly out on Sunday. That's my travel day. We head out on Monday, I do, and try and walk the course at about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I do all the basic stuff that I just explained there, sprinkler heads, distances, elevation changes, wind direction, all that sort of stuff. Monday, Jace will go out and play 9 holes in the afternoon and execute the plan that I've arranged for him in the morning. Tuesday I might spend some coaching time with Greg or Cameron if they're at the event, and then go out and do another 9 holes with Jason in the afternoon. He's not an early riser. Wednesday, Jason will play in the Pro-Am in the morning, and then certainly in the afternoon I'll spend some more time with Greg and Cameron if they need it. Thursday the tournament begins, and realistically once Thursday comes around I'm like, oh thank goodness. That's when it actually slows down a little bit from a work and a prep point of view. And I get to spend a little bit more time just before we go out for the round, going out, checking the pins, making sure that they are where they are and how they're going to play on the morning of the event. So realistically, when Jace gets there at 11 o'clock for a 1 o'clock tee time, I've been there since 9, checking the course and seeing how it plays. Basically, what I wanted to do now is to get to the good stuff and the crux of the evening, which is basically a bit of a Q&A. We've got 200 plus people in here, I'm sure we've got a bunch of questions they want to ask, and certainly I'd love to be able to answer them all if we've got time. So I'd like to turn the floor over, and anyone that has a question with the Masters, the Open, the match play, or anything, definitely feel free to ask away, and I'd be more than happy to answer it if I can. So, thank you. I got my glasses on tonight, and I told Sean Foley that I was going to be doing this little chat tonight. And Sean said, well, look, do one thing and wear glasses because it makes you look smarter. He said it's definitely worked for him. So So has anyone got a question they'd like to ask? Yep. Do you want to run the mic around if you can? Thanks, great. That way everyone gets to hear the question.
It doesn't seem that you read a lot of Jason's putts. How come some tour caddies read putts all the time for pros and some don't? The second question is, when are they going to allow the pros to wear shorts?
The second part of the question I'll answer first, never. I think it's just one of those things that centuries ago they were wearing, ties and jackets and everything else, and certainly the powers that to be have indicated that that will never change. If they had it their way, caddies would still wear their long pants. But on the first question, there's some weeks I read more and there's some weeks I read less. Marion on Sunday I read just about every putt, but the first 3 days read very few. I'll read more on faster and bent greens, whereas Jace will read more on Bermuda greens. So he grew up on Bermuda, he knows Bermuda. I grew up on bent, I know bent. So needless to say, I struggle. But yeah, so it varies from week to week, definitely.
Colin, your thoughts on Marion? Specifically, do you think it was set up fairly, and B, you think it will return to Marion someday?
I definitely think that it's going to return to Marion. Everything that I heard was that logistically it was a nightmare. For any of you that did go, you would have been aware of that. The players' locker room, their eating room, everything was located over on the west course, and it's about 1.5 miles, and it was basically on someone's backyard that they'd hired for $500,000 for the week. But it was logistically a nightmare, but they handled it really, really well. And certainly the whisper and the rumor at the end of the week was that it will return to Marion, definitely. But as far as the setup of the course went, I walked the course on Friday before the event. Jason rang me Saturday and said, "What do you think?" I said, "Even par will win the golf event." And then we got all that rain, and everyone was talking about ripping it up, and I think Ernie Els was in there thinking they're going to shoot 61 or 62. You cannot shoot 61 or 62 around Marion. There is absolutely no way you could do that. The rough was too thick, it was too penal, and the greens were too fast and too slopey. And +1 at the end of the week showed that.
For the British Open this year,
I'm sorry.
British Open this year, how early will you go over there, and have you played it before? Has Jason played it before the course?
No, Jason has not played before. We like to go into definitely the majors with no preconceived opinion on how to play the golf course. And that's something that we did going into Augusta. When we first went to Augusta, was to go there. We knew that it was an Aussie voodoo, and and Greg had sort of set us up for that for some time. But we had plenty of people that wanted to give us an opinion or give us advice on how to play Augusta, and we've had plenty of people give us advice on how to play Marion, and certainly the Open this year is no different. But we want to make sure that when we go there, we're going there and we're picking a strategy and a plan, and we're trying to execute a plan around what Jason does well, not necessarily what others may or may not have done well. I got an email on, I think it was Friday evening at Marion, from a good friend of mine in Australia that had the chance to speak with David Graham, who won at Marion in '81, and it was a beautiful email. I should have put it up on the slide, but the basic crux of the email was to say that he said to David Graham, on that Sunday when you hit 18 greens at Marion, how many times was the finish target the pin? And David Graham said, none. And when my friend turned around and said, well, what do you mean? Your finish target was never the pin. He said, Marion is the kind of course that you have to leave the ball in the right spot. And sometimes that's not necessarily the pin. Like I said before, 3 feet could be 3 or 4 inches or 5 inches of break. 30 feet could be 2 inches or 3 inches of break. And he finished on a beautiful quote, which was basically, Marion speaking, which was, you give me a golfer with the discipline to fire away from the pin and leave themselves the best putt, and you'll have the champion standing at the end of the day. And that was certainly the mindset we had going in on Sunday. So for the Open this year, I'm getting there on Wednesday, if I can, if Lisa will let me. And I'll put probably 3 or 4 days in before Jason gets there, and then we'll have the Saturday and Sunday previous to execute our plan and make sure that it's what he likes and what we think we need to do. And then hopefully bring the Claret Jug home. That'd be nice.
Front center.
We know I can't answer that question.
What's up? Jason he's establishing this reputation, it seems to me, to be really like a big time, big event player. So forget his physical attributes, which we know are off the charts, he hits the mile and everything. I know that you work with his head a little bit, and I know he does some imaging exercises and everything. What role has that played in his ability to kind of rise to the occasion when it's needed the most at these top pressure events?
Yeah, definitely. It's everybody judges a career success or failure on the majors, and everybody knows that Tiger's trying to chase Nicholas. And to have a successful career in the eyes of some, you need to win major events. So Jason's aware of that, and he wants to win majors. It comes with it's add-ons. You get a 5-year exemption, you win a boatload of money, and everything else. But it's one of those situations where if you can't get up the week of a major to play, then you're never going to get up. So he enjoys that. He enjoys the tougher courses. The courses that are easier tend to bore him a little bit, and he becomes complacent, and that's why he doesn't play as well. So definitely that's been really good. He's working with a company now, Focus Band. You might have seen he's doing all sorts of moving in and out. He hasn't got the Keegan Bradleys yet, but give that time and that might happen. But that's been really, really good for him. The Focus Band is I've done this for over 20 years, but the Focus Band is the first time that it can actually measure what sports psychologists have been trying to say to people for years. Sports psychologists say, I want you to keep your eyes above the level, chest out, breathe, be the ball, be the moment, don't get ahead of yourself, all the cliches under the sun. But it was always good shot equal you did what I asked you. Whereas this machine that he now puts on his head measures whether or not he's doing what they're asking him to do. It can measure left brain, right brain. So obviously you don't want to be a left brainer when you play, you want to be a right brainer. The right brainer is the pictures, the images, the do. The left brain is all the analytical. Standing there, beautiful. Right there, oh, don't even work. So he can measure that, which is incredible. So some holes if there's holes that are really tough, or there's holes that are pushing his buttons or something like that. I'm just trying to think of the hole we used at Marion. We used a lot of holes at Marion. But if there's a tough hole, if there's OB or there's water or something like that, you can put the machine on and go specifically to that hole and go through his pre-shot routine, and at a certain point, it will be able to measure where he went from being to thinking analytical. And then we can say, right, what were you thinking about? Well, so I was thinking about the out of bounds, I was thinking about the water, and then we come up with strategies to try and get over that. So it's a cool piece of equipment. You'll see 2 big, tall, geeky guys walking around with him. They're the guys that invented it. But it's been really cool. There's been a number of, Padraig Harrington's just taken it on. He's just started using it. Mike Weir's just started using it. I think Mike Weir missed every cut for 2 years, and he just finished 20th in the US Open. And Harrington's playing better, so it's fruity, but it works.
Colin, what do you say to Jason when you're walking down the fairway Sunday afternoon and he's tied for the lead? How do you coach him to the end?
It depends. Augusta, to be quite honest, it was pretty emotional walking up 18. I said to him walking up 18 that I think we had to birdie it to have a chance. As it was, I think if we had a birdie, we wouldn't have had a chance with what they did. But bogeying 16 and 17 and losing the lead at a major championship, and certainly one event that he practiced his whole life to try and win and be the first Aussie to win that event. He was pretty down walking up 18, and there was a lot of trying to pick him up and get him going and trying to finish the tournament on a high and at least have a chance if he makes birdie or happens to eagle the last hole that he could in fact maybe have a chance of a playoff or possibly winning. So that was a little bit different. Marion, we walked up the fairway complaining about the lie we got and how he was going to try and hold the bunker shot on 18 to have a chance to do it. It's tough, it varies. That's the hardest thing about what I think I have to do, is picking the right thing to say at the right time and making sure you don't say the wrong thing at the wrong time. But just keeping their spirits high, keeping them positive, keeping them motivated, but not too pumped up and too motivated that they get ahead of themselves and start rushing the shots. So yeah, it's definitely a balance. It's a really good question.
Mr. Rock.
On the back nine, the rain started, and it came. Marion.
Rain on us twice.
And it came down pretty good.
Yep.
And I just was wondering, how do you adjust that quickly? It looked like Jason was playing without an umbrella over him. His hands were getting wet. What do you do in that instance? And do you carry a lot of extra dry gloves with you? How does the rain affect you?
That's another good question, but Jason hates the umbrella over him unless it's pouring, and he finds it more of a distraction to be dealing with an umbrella and dealing with a putter and trying to keep this and that. So he'd play in the rain, and if he could, and so he's a little different. I'll say, hey, you need an umbrella. He'll say, no, the umbrella, put it away, and we'll hold on to yourself or do whatever. So that's a little different for him. But typically we'll carry. I headed out on Sunday morning, and I think the bag weighed about 55 pounds. So we had 2 sets of rainwear, 4 towels, rain hood, the dozen balls that we start the day with, 4 bottles of water, and I think he carries a left and a right, the Tommy Ganny special, the left and right weather gloves, and then we carry another 12. So yeah, we carry a lot just in case. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes in that. I wish I could just carry 18 tees. That thing's so light. Definitely.
Mr. Ross, you're next. Go ahead.
On Sunday at Marion, when we put it in the creek there, which number was that? 14 or?
I put that miles behind.
Well, that one we think, or at least I was thinking, okay, he's done. And then all of a sudden he comes back and chips it in there. What was he thinking? What were you telling him after he put it in the creek?
Well, there's a funny story, and I'll just tell the story before I tell the answer. But at the start of the year, every year, I make a deal with Jason. And believe it or not, the winner on the PGA Tour every year is 21 chip-ins. They chip in 21 times in a season. So I set him a goal at the start of every year. Steak dinner, Ruth Chris or Morton's. You can drink as much as you want. You can eat whatever you want. You can have the 25-pound ribeye for night. So it's an expensive night out. And I say to him, all you've got to do is have 13 chip-ins for the year. And if you don't, you buy me dinner. If you do, I buy you dinner. As a bit of an incentive to try and do that. Well, last year I paid, and he invited several friends. And then this year, he's only had 1 chip-in all year. So his psychologist said on, I think it was the second day, he said, he's down on the range and he's, hey, what do you think about this? If Jason chips in a major, that's 3 times the amount. It counts as 3 chip-ins. You never play it. So, oh, that's a great idea, So I thought that might help him try and chip in more. So I said, yeah, that's a great idea, James. So we get there on 11, and the ball's sitting down in the rough, and I'm thinking, we'll just pitch it out. And I said, you want a number just short of the creek? No, I got this. So I said, and I kept on saying to him, we need a 135 shot minimum, let the ball bounce through, go over the back of the green, we'll chip back to it. Well, he put his, I think I can get this close swing on that one, and hit it 115 yards straight in the water. So on the walk down to the ball, I said to him, well, your only hope this week is going to be to try and pick up free dinner. I said, you better chip this in for 3. And we go down there, read the chip, and he landed exactly where we wanted to land it. And he turned around and he was more excited about getting 3 chip-ins for the round. He turned around and said, that's 4. And I said, we're trying to win the US Open here. It's amazing how you give someone that's 25 a hint that I'm going to have to buy him dinner and try his guts out. But yeah, it's a true story, funny story, and yeah, we were just hoping that we could at least gain some momentum off a mistake and then move on and try and do that, which he did. He had a good putt for birdie on 14, on 12, and another one on 13. So it hopefully worked.
Colin?
That's okay.
2 questions.
Yes.
You're getting so much TV time. Are you getting any endorsement money? And second, what are your thoughts on the pace of play out there that's become a hot issue?
Okay, we're in discussions currently with CBS. Jim Nance and I are going to do some commercials for Furniture One. No, there's nothing in the future. With a face like this, I'm good for radio. But the pace of play, it is slow. I'm not going to lie. There are a number of players that are renowned for how slow they move in between shots and over shots. Is it going to go away? I don't know. I don't think the penalties are stringent enough for it to go away full time. They get, well, they are for us, but I think their first timing, they get 3 timings in a year, and if those 3 timings are bad, then they start to penalise. And the first penalty is, I think, 5,000. Second penalty is 10,000, and then I think it goes to 50 for a third bad timing. So 50 grand is 50 grand. It's you can buy a lot with 50 grand. 50 grand to someone that's playing for $1.4 million, and it's inconsistent. That's the thing. It seems like the better you play, the more lenient you are. The worse you play, the faster they're trying to get you through. TV's got a lot to do with that. They have to try and finish on time. They have to try and make sure they get all the telecast in. But to answer your question, I don't know. I don't think it's really going to go away unless they make the timings so much more severe and start in with $100,000 penalties or $200,000 penalties or what have you. Or 2 shots. You put 2 shots in and I guarantee you they're not going to go slow. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely.
Colin, a quick comment and question. As you were going through the duties of the caddy, you forgot babysitter because that was a great shot on 18 when you were waiting for Justin to come out after the open and you were holding Jason's baby there. They got that on TV. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Did he fit in on the TV screen?
Yeah, big boy. Question to follow up on Peggy's when she asked about how you control Jason's emotions. I'm curious about how you control your own because you've got to talk a little bit about just what that emotional roller coaster is like for you.
Yeah, it's funny. You do go through it. Like I never sleep during the day. I just can't do it. There's trees to be planted. There's launched in mode. But it's one of those things that I came home on Monday night, and I was absolutely out of it on Tuesday. I was just so exhausted and really, really tired. So yeah, mentally it's exhausting, especially when you're in the hunt and with a golf course like Marion, every shot it just needed to be perfect. So there wasn't any sort of slack off holes where you could knock it down there, near enough's good, and it would have to be so precise. So for me, I can't let him see that I'm nervous, or I can't let him see that I'm getting uptight. I have to try and start the week a certain way, that on Sunday be exactly that same way. And you know, certainly trying to win a major like Augusta or the US Open at Marion, it's hard not to get excited. So you really got to, you know, I know I've got to decide, get the number and hold the umbrella and make sure he's okay and fed and drinking water and everything else, that I sort of have to go, right, okay, use the same terms, use the same voice, you know, don't, you know, get too, because they pick up on everything. You know, you can say, you know, it's the old one, you know, I know Marshall, you never liked anyone talking to your golf ball, but these guys, they can hit a shot and you'll go, oh, get up, and, you know, land on the green and kick past the pin, you go, oh, you asked it to get up, you know. So saying the wrong thing at the wrong time could be, all right, yeah, your ball hurt me, that's right. Mine doesn't listen. Bounce out of the trees. But what was the second part of the question? Sorry. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes.
Yes, what is Jason's workout routine during a tournament week, and what might he eat to sustain himself and sell around?
Okay, yeah. Jace, I was just talking to somebody about this the other night. Jason works out really, really hard. He'll do 2.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 2 a day in off weeks. So yeah, a lot of time in the gym, and he just can't seem to manage to get as big as Tony. But maybe it's the bone structure. It's got nothing to do with that milkshake or whatever they put in it. But yeah, so he really works out very, very hard. And we've managed, when he first came here in 2006, he was 175 pounds. So he's been here now almost 7 years, and he's 195. So we put 20 pounds of lean muscle on in 6 years. So yeah, it's tough for him to, and that's everything, you know, that's the gym work, the foam roller, the self-massage, all that sort of stuff. Aerobic, everything that goes into the stretching. You know, so he'll spend 2.5 hours in the gym, no problem. On the road, he eats. Some weeks he eats like an athlete. Some weeks he doesn't eat like an athlete. Some weeks it's the egg whites and the spinach and the proteins and all that sort of stuff. And then some weeks it's Taco Bell or not necessarily McDonald's or anything like that, but some weeks he'll eat really well and some weeks he won't. It's the weeks that he eats poorly that he learns the most, because you just can't put cheap petrol in a decent car, and he feels that. So he'll eat it, he'll come the next day and go, oh, I feel terrible, I feel flat, I feel lethargic, and then that's when, and you've got to let him make those mistakes. You've got to let him make those mistakes, and they learn from it, and then stay on a better diet. But all the athletes take good care of themselves. Tiger to the most.
It's a long year on the PGA Tour.
Oh, yeah.
And do you, in the off season, do you and Jason set up the whole season? And which tournaments you're going to play and which you aren't, and what goes into that decision?
Yeah, we have a board meeting every year at the end of the year. And so straight after FedEx Cup or Fall Series, I'll fly to Columbus, and we sit down. We have a 2-day. The first day is a bit of fun and a few giggles, and the second day we sit down in his office and basically we map out the whole year. We talk about tournament scheduling, which tournaments we want to play, which tournaments we don't want to play. Ellie will say which ones she likes, from family dining or fun things or activities. But we'll look at which courses he has played well at in previous years, which courses he hasn't played well at in previous years, which courses would suit his game, which courses wouldn't suit his game, and we come up with the schedule. And then we make that plan moving forward. Then we also talk about the different aspects of his game. We talk about, and I talk about it from a teaching point, technical. So we come up with all the things technically that we want to work on for that particular year. That's usually based on a 3D bio report. And then we talk about the physical goals that we want to try and achieve, the technical goals that we want to achieve, and also the mental goals we want to achieve. We map it all out, plan it all out, and then hopefully try and execute.
Any embarrassing moments you can share with us, like ever handing a 9-iron instead of a 6, or almost miss a tee time, or anything like that?
We've done both of those. I'll never forget, we were in New Zealand, and we were playing a golf event in New Zealand. He was staying with me back in those days. We shared accommodation, and we finished in the morning. He shot like 76 or 75. It was a really, really tough day. It was windy, it was wet, it was blowing. We finished in the morning, and honestly, we thought we'd miss the cut. And I said to Jason, let's go back to the hotel, chill out, and we'll see what happens. Well, of course, he goes back to the hotel, and he falls asleep watching TV, and I fall asleep watching TV, and I wake up, I don't know what woke me up. And I wake up, and I go, oh, I better check the computer. And I check the computer, and hang on a second. Not only has everyone finished, but now we're inside the cut line and we've got a tee time. And because it's a U draw, they put all the ones that just got in off the 10th tee first. So I'm like, oh, Jace. So I go and wake him up and I said, good news is we made the cut. Bad news is we've got to be on the tee in 25 minutes. So we jump in the car, fly to the golf course, we make the tee time without any warm-up, and anyway, long story short, we finished 6th in that event. So we did a Roy McIlroy. We were sleeping. There's no more to that story. There's no more to that story. So what was the second part of that question? Sorry, I forgot it. Oh, the most embarrassing moment. I'm trying to think of fun, embarrassing moments rather than embarrassing moments. I'll come back to that one. I'll think of one. that I can share.
I'm just curious, this is a Tiger relative question.
I knew it wouldn't take long to
I'm not sure, but I'm assuming you've been in the group with him a time or two.
Yep.
And if you are, does the commotion to go along with him bother you much? If you had your choice, would you rather be the group in front where they're all jockeying to get where he is, or would you rather put people behind?
I would rather be in the group with Tiger. Playing in front of Tiger is difficult because everyone runs ahead to try and get a spot. Playing behind Tiger can be extremely slow. So playing with Tiger would certainly be an advantage. Unfortunately, we were lucky we didn't have to. We finished on the other side at the US Open. But it was one of those things with Tiger is that there are so many people. You know, everyone loves him. He's arguably the best player in the world, and so they should. So yeah, playing with Tiger can somewhat be difficult to manage from a camera point of view, from a movement point of view. But there's advantages to playing with Tiger as well.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on the anchor issue? Anchor
Issue.
I put it on the spot like that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a Tiger question. The anchoring, it's one of those things that personally, I think they should have made the decision years and years and years ago. You don't tease people and allow people to use a method and then suddenly take it away. Yeah. There's guys that have been, Webb Simpson, he's anchored his entire career, be it only 25 or 26 or whatever he is, but he's been anchored his whole career. Carl Peterson, whole career. Tim Clark. Like Tim Clark said, I will quit the game. I can't play. I can physically not putt conventional. So my argument is that they should have done it years ago if they were going to ban something. I think the only one, in my opinion, that is the greatest form of anchoring was the one that they didn't ban, which is up against the forearm. So the Kuchar style. the Matt Kuchar style form of anchoring is far more anchored than anything else, but they didn't ban that. So, you know, why they didn't, I don't know, but they banned everything else, so, I don't know. So, no. You know, that's a funny one. You know, you've got Matt Kuchar who's made a lot of money, won a lot of golf tournaments. You know, he's prominent. He's just as prominent as a Keegan Bradley or a Webb Simpson or a Tim Clark or a Carl Peterson or any of the guys that do use an anchored putter, but he just slipped through somehow.
Regarding the Tiger Sergio spat, have they kissed and made up, or is that still going forward?
It looked good on TV. It did what it had to do. No, you know, I know Tiger fairly well, and I know Sergio probably better than Tiger. And Sergio is unfortunately one of those guys that if he's asked a question, he'll give an honest answer. Not necessarily the most appropriate answer. And I know that, you know, Sergio's single, he has a good time on the PGA Tour, that's fine. You know, being young and having that much money, you can do whatever you want, I guess. But he's very, very faithful. And that's one thing that he struggles with Tiger, is that, you know, Tiger had one of these on his finger. And he struggles with that. And, you know, he just doesn't like the fact that Tiger is, to a certain degree, in Sergio's words, a bit of a phony. And that's where they have their differences. But, you know, they're good friends, and they'll always be good friends, but they're not going to be the best of pals.
Can we keep on the gossip side of things for a moment? So, like, who's the biggest jerk? Right, present company accepted. You know, like, who's the biggest jerk to be paired with? Who's a caddy that you really like hanging with when you're working, and who's a caddy that is kind of a pain in the butt? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but
okay, as far as a caddy, my favourite caddy to hang around is Steve Williams. Biggest jerk caddy on the PGA Tour is Steve Williams. Stevie's a great guy. He's just underestimated. But Stevie is a really, really good caddy. You know, you don't have, I think it's 76 worldwide wins. So, you know, you don't have that many wins being average. And he's got so much knowledge. He's an extremely smart person. He's definitely helped Adam, you know, go from, you know, top 10, top 15 player in the world to, I think he's number 3. So, you know, super guy, really knowledgeable, but Stevie's best mate is Stevie. So, you know, he's the only one wearing shorts and a t-shirt when it's 50. And he'll tell everyone else that they should be wearing t-shirt and shorts. So, yeah, that's my caddy. Wow. I don't like to use the word jerk, but difficult. Wow.
well, who does Jason like being paired with? Let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy way of putting it. Sergio, Tiger, Phil, yeah, Ricky Fowler, Bill Haas. How's Horschel?
How was Horschel?
Well, just look at his pants. It was like, what, 27 octopus pie? It was funny. I said to Billy walking up the second, and he's walking up the fairway, and I was like, love your pants! We all love your pants! Billy's leaning, and I said to Billy, I said, what's the deal with those? Like, you know, is it a, you know, did you have to wear them? Did Ralph Lauren make you, you know, wear them? Did you get paid? Like, what's the deal? And he said, No, I just thought they'd be cool.
They were selling them in the merchandise tent.
Were they really? Really? Unbelievable. Yeah, but that, good on him, you know, like, great pair of hands. But,
I'm here next week, by the way, so.
You're getting something?
Oh, yeah. They're pink, though, so.
Pink and blue octopi. But, yeah, I don't know. There's not many. I'd say probably the most difficult would be Kevin Nah, to be out on the golf course with. He went through that, you know, awful period. I think it was last year, you know, where he couldn't pull the trigger several times, and you know that's hard to deal with. You know, from a and then unfortunately the group gets put on the clock, and then suddenly the timings start to come in and things like that. But he's a great guy, and he's so apologetic. It's like, oh, dude, I just can't pull the trigger, you know. And we've all been there, you know, to a lesser extent, but you know that sort of stuff is sometimes, you know, hard to be out with. But yeah, you know, Freddie's a great guy to go out with. Freddie's got a little hand thing he doesn't do. He never shakes anyone's hand when he's on the golf course. He always. So we're playing with Freddie on the last day of Augusta? No, second last day of Augusta. We come up on the first tee, and we've got to know Freddie pretty good. And he walks up on the tee, and I give him the big one like that, like I'm faking him out. And he's going, Colin, no, I can't do that. and then he still goes back and grabs his towel and gives it back. Yeah. So if you ever see Freddie, give him that. Hey, Fred. Found out. Any more questions?
Do you love what you do?
Do I love? Yeah, yes. 100%. You know, like seriously, I'm the luckiest man alive. I get to work with 3 great guys on a full-time basis. I walk around in the hot sun. I walk around in the pouring rain, and I'm outside all day. Seriously, it's a great job. You know, that's one thing with golf, and we all know it, is that you can travel anywhere in the world. And you could go into a restaurant, a bar, bump into someone in the shopping centre, and talk golf, and within 20 minutes, half an hour, you're exchanging numbers and you've got friends for life. So that's the best thing that this game's ever done, and it's brought me to Belfair, and you know, I've got 240 people that want to come and hear some stories, so I'm very lucky.
What's your favorite stops, besides of course the Maiden? What's the stop that you or Jason don't want to miss every year?
Oh, it'd have to be Moline. Favorite stop all year would I do Jackson Bennett Muirfield. That would be a favorite stop of mine. Augusta National, definitely, as a major venue. Yeah, Pebble Beach, I think would be right up there. I love Pebble Beach. That's Lisa and I